And well, there is no end to the escalation in the ongoing conflict in the Middle East after Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu suggested that eliminating Iran's Ali Khamenei would put an end to this conflict. Now it is a direct war of words between US President Donald Trump and Iran's supreme leader. After Trump's social media post asking for unconditional surrender, now Ali Khamenei posted that the battle has begun. In a post on Truth Social, Trump stated that they know exactly where the so-called Iranian supreme leader is hiding, adding that at least for now, they are not going to kill him. Similarly, US Vice President J.D. Vance also raised alarms over Tehran's uranium enrichment activities, warning that the Islamic Republic far exceeded levels needed for civilian energy use. These statements from Trump and his deputy came after Pentagon deployed additional fighter jets, 3 aircraft carriers, warplanes, air refueling tankers and stealth bombers. At least 30 US military planes that have been moved from bases in America to Europe over the past 3 days.
عملیاتی که تاکنون اجرا شده صرفاً هشدار برای بازدارندگی بوده است و عملیات تنبیهی به زودی اجرا خواهد شد. به جد به ساکنین سرزمین‌های اشغالی به ویژه تل‌آویو و حیفا هشدار داده می شود برای حفظ جان خود این مناطق رو ترک کنند و خودشون رو قربانی امیال حیوانی نتانیاهو نکنند.
We are now on day 5 of Operation Rising Lion. We've struck deep, hitting Iran's nuclear, ballistic, and command capabilities. The Iranian regime has spent years getting closer to a nuclear weapon. They have spent billions building a ballistic missile program. Our mission is clear: to remove the threat at its source. We are aiming at military targets. They are attacking civilian homes. The IDF will continue to operate with precision, strength, and resolve to ensure the safety of the people of Israel.
The Department of State has established the Middle East Task Force to help coordinate support for U.S. citizens, our U.S. diplomatic missions, and personnel and diplomatic engagement. The task force is operating 24 hours a day. Over the past week, to help keep U.S. citizens informed, we have issued more than 30 security alerts to countries in the region and updated the travel advisories for Iraq and Israel. We remind U.S. citizens not to travel to Israel or Iraq and not to travel to Iran under any circumstances.
And the big question is, will the Israel-Iran war end with the end of Ayatollah Khamenei? In a sensational post on his social media platform, Truth Social, Donald Trump declared that he knows where Khamenei is, but won't be killing him for now. Separately, Israel has said that Khamenei risks meeting the same fate as Saddam Hussein.
It is the most direct threat to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. US President Donald Trump has declared that he knows where Khamenei is hiding, but he's not going to take him out and kill for now. Trump's recent post came days after reports emerged that he had vetoed an Israeli proposal to assassinate Khamenei, fearing it would worsen the situation. In another indication of how Khamenei may be on Israel's hit list, the country defense minister warned Khamenei that his end will be like Saddam Hussein's. An ominous reference to the brutal downfall of Iraq's former dictator.
I warn the Iranian dictator from continuing to commit war crimes and fire missiles at Israeli citizens. He should remember what happened to the dictator in the country neighboring Iran who took this path against the state of Israel. We will continue today as well to operate against regime targets and military targets in Tehran, as we did against the Propaganda and Incitement Broadcasting Authority.
Once feared as one of the Middle East's most brutal strongmen, Saddam Hussein's final days were marked by defeat and humiliation. After months on the run following the US-led invasion of Iraq, American forces captured Saddam Hussein near his town of Tikrit. Hiding in a dirt-covered spider hole, the once mighty dictator was found disheveled, armed with a pistol, but offering no resistance. In the years that followed, Saddam stood trial before an Iraqi special tribunal. Charged with crimes against humanity, he was convicted for the mass killings of Shiite civilians. In jail, he remained defiant till the end, calling the court illegitimate, accusing the US of orchestrating the trial. Then, on the morning of December 30th, 2006, Saddam Hussein was hanged at a Baghdad military base. A moment witnessed by a small group of officials and later seen by the world via leaked footage. Will Khamenei meet the same end, or will the West Asia war end in a regime change in Iran? Bureau Report, India Today.
And well, the deadly conflict between Iran and Israel entered its sixth day, with both sides widening their attacks. Israeli Defense Forces launched a fresh wave of strikes on Tehran. Israel had warned residents of District 18 near Tehran to evacuate the area in wake of Israel's operation. Later, the same area was battered with missiles. In an overnight exchange of missiles, Israel thwarted several drone attacks from Iran. Israel Air Force has been carrying attacks across Iran in attempts to choke Iran's nuclear ambitions. Now, according to reports, Israeli strikes on Iran have killed 585 people and wounded 1,326 others who are injured. Iran also continues to launch missiles at Israel. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps have claimed that hypersonic missiles were used during the latest attack on Israel. Iran used Fateh-1 missiles against Israel, several explosions that were seen across the skies in Tel Aviv. Well, one of the most viral images of the Israel-Iran conflict has been a video taken from a flight over Dubai that shows missiles being fired from Iran towards Israel. The video has raised questions about civilian aircraft safety. Sandeep Unithan explains.
Israel-Iran war is one of the most bizarre conflicts of all time possibly. You have two countries that are over 1,000 kilometers away, which are at war. That's Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Israel. And right down here you have the Houthis in Yemen, who are firing ballistic missiles at Israel. They are Iranian proxies. And of course, Iran has been firing several ballistic missiles at Israel. Israel has been striking at Iran with fighter jets. But Iran's primary weapon is the ballistic missile. And what we've seen in the last couple of days is several passenger airliners that appear to be at risk because ballistic missiles have been fired near them. Now, there have been two such recent instances, one over Israel where a ballistic missile was fired near a passenger airliner. Israeli authorities said that they had protected that civilian airliner by shooting down those that ballistic missile. And there was another instance where passengers flying over somewhere here near the Persian Gulf picked up Iranian ballistic missiles going over Iran towards Israel. So how safe are passenger airliners when ballistic missiles are being fired? You know, you had 11 years back that very tragic case of MH17, which is a Malaysian airliner which was shot down by a Ukrainian missile that was that killed nearly 298 passengers. It's a very sad story where this MH17 was flying over Ukraine when a surface-to-air missile was launched and that airliner was shot down. So our airliners here in this particular region of West Asia, in this Israel-Iran conflict, are they at risk? Well, not quite, because if you understand the kind of missiles that are being used by Iran to target Israel or by the Houthis to target Israel. It's a very different kind of a missile from the one that was fired at MH17 in 2014. Now, MH17, a passenger airliner, was shot down by a surface-to-air missile. Now, a surface-to-air missile is a missile which has an active seeker, it has an explosive payload, and it's only designed to target aircraft by exploding close to them. When they fly close to this aircraft, they explode near the aircraft, they destroy the aircraft. But what ballistic missiles essentially are, they are weapons that fly out of the ground and in most cases exit the atmosphere and then re-enter and drop onto their target. So, for instance, if you have a civilian airliner that was passing in the vicinity of a ballistic missile, the chances of it being hit by a ballistic missile are extremely rare, are very, very, it's almost impossible for a ballistic missile to target an aircraft, because the primary target of a ballistic missile is not the aircraft, it is arcing towards its target, which is usually on the ground. It's a ground-based target. It's being launched. It's a ground-to-ground missile. And typically an airliner would be flying at a speed of over 700 kilometers per hour. That's about 0.7 Mach. It's quite fast. The chances are that you would possibly see these ballistic missiles being fired. You could see the trajectory of these missiles from your window if you're lucky, but it's never happened in the history of conflict that a ballistic missile has brought down a passenger airliner. Of course, you have surface-to-air missiles doing that in conflict areas. This is not to say that passenger airliners are completely safe in war zones. They're not. That's one of the reasons that Iran has closed its airspace now. There are no aircraft flying over there. That's because they want to make sure that they target only military aircraft, the Israeli military aircraft that are coming in. But for the airliners that are flying around of this place where the airspace has been shut, they only are in danger if the weapon that's fired at them is a surface-to-air missile and not a ballistic missile. So ballistic missiles generally leave aircraft alone because they have a target to hit on the ground and they can't do anything to passenger airliners that are flying. They don't have the ability to explode in the proximity of a passenger airliner. Their targets are on the ground, whereas it's very different if, for instance, a surface-to-air missile or a SAM was fired against a passenger airliner. But that's not to suggest that passenger airliners should be flying anywhere near conflict zones. And this is what happens the minute there's a conflict zone that's declared. You have civilian airliners, all of them staying wide away from all of these conflicts. They don't want to make the mistake that was made many years back when Malaysian airliner went down, killing almost 300 passengers.
And well, amid the escalating Israel-Iran conflict, India has initiated the evacuation of Indian students stranded in Iran. Approximately 110 Indian students from Urmia Medical University, including 90 from the Kashmir Valley and others from different Indian states, have been successfully brought onto the other side. They crossed the border into Armenia on Tuesday. As per External Affairs Ministry, all tickets have been arranged free of cost by the Indian government. Tickets from Delhi to Srinagar are also being arranged to ensure a smooth and complete journey home for all these students from Kashmir. First, the students will depart from Yerevan Airport, fly to Doha. From Doha, they will board their connecting flight to Delhi.